Our team is excited about the tournament. We're really excited that it's in Atlanta and just down the road for us. So hopefully we'll have some support from our fan base there in Atlanta. But kids are really excited, I think, about the tournament, and it should be a great week of basketball in the Georgia Dome.
First up is Mark Weiser, the Athens Banner-Herald.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm good, Mark. How are you?
Good. This might be comparing apples and oranges with some of the caliber of teams you've had as a head coach, but has what your team's done this season been as satisfying to you as any other you've coached, or how would you view that?
I've not really thought about it until you asked me, but I think that normally I think what I do is you compare most things in life to the first time you maybe did something, and so I compare a lot of my teams to my first team, which I thought was really a group of overachievers and a team that was, I think, picked fourth in the league, that won the league and won an NCAA tournament game, and were just a joy to coach. And so every year I often compare the team I'm coaching to that group because it was my first one, and it was one of my favorite teams. This team, if I sit here on the fly and compare it to that first team, it's been just as much fun to coach. These guys have been a real joy, and I look forward to seeing them every day. They enjoy each other, and I think that throughout the season, whether it would be success or failures, they've tried to use the experience to grow as people and as a team. And so, from that standpoint, it's been a process I think that we've all enjoyed.
And what was the locker room scene like Saturday? I guess after that win left you guys tied for second in the conference.
It was typical, I think that we were certainly the kids were excited. I think they had a sense of accomplishment for winning the game because it was LSU's a good team and it was a good win, and I think it was typical of a scene after a conference road win. I don't think it was more than that, but it certainly was, because if you win a road game in this league, it's very hard to do, and so I think they were excited, like they would be for most conference road victories.
Thanks.
Next is Jerry Tipton of the Lexington Herald.
Mark, how much control does a coach have to create what you had with your first team and what it seems you have with this team?
I think what coaches do is we do our best to manage the personality of the group, but the one thing I think that you can't control is and you can in some instances as you recruit them, but the quality of character. You really have to have people that are great, have great character to really continue to strive and achieve, and sometimes you can't control that. You don't know exactly, even though there's some communication and recruiting. You don't really know until you go to battle with somebody how they're wired, and fortunately we've got a real healthy chemistry and some really good character on our team, and that's allowed us to continue to grow.
And where were you guys right at the end of the non-conference portion of the schedule going into the conference? What was the feel for what you could do?
Jerry, that was a tough time because, we played George Washington in our last regular season game, and I learned right before that game that my dad was about to pass, and so then right before conference started, I was kind of away from the team for a day or two, and so, I don't know if that time we could really say we had a real grasp on what we could accomplish. I do think that from day one this year, we felt like, and our team felt like, we could have a good team. And even though Contavious left and we knew there would be some growing pains getting used to his absence, I don't think they ever wavered on the fact that, hey, we think we can have a good team. And it just took us a while to figure out how to do that.
Thanks.
Dick Towers of the AJC.
Coach, just wondering, what are some of the logistical situations? I guess it'll be 6 days between games before you finally play. You don't know who your opponent's going to be, that kind of thing. What's the logistics look like running up into a late Friday night start?
Well, it's a good question, Chip. I think that first of all, we gave him yesterday off as we normally would, and we'll go very, very light today. I think it's important to get our legs kind of back underneath us, and then we'll go back to a usual routine of of practice, and so much like we would for a Thursday game, our Monday this week will look like it. Our Tuesday this week will look like a Monday would have on a Thursday game. So not that unusual to have some an extra day to prep in there. We're just going to have basically an extra day of rest, which I think will be good this time of year.
Is it as simple as saying, you didn't play well against Vanderbilt, you played real well against Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and so you spend a lot of time preparing for one and less for another, et cetera?
Oh no, I think that our focus number one has to be on ourselves. We have some things we're some areas where we can get better. There's some things we didn't do well in the game Saturday that we can work on. So we'll focus first on ourselves, and obviously there'll be some familiarity when whoever your opponent is, and we'll do some preliminary work, in a general sense for an opponent, but really our focus here early in the week especially will be on ourselves.
Thanks.
Seth Emerson of the Macon Telegraph.
Mark, I know you'll hate this question, but do you feel that you guys are going to need to win the whole thing this weekend in order to be safe in terms of an NCAA bid?
For the first time yesterday, Seth, because I don't know who we're playing, I took a minute to look at it. I don't know if we'll have to win it, but it sure takes the stress out of it if you do. I think we'd have to advance, but to have legitimate at-large chances, I think we would have to advance in the tournament. But if you advance, you might as well win it.
Thanks.
Tim Tucker, the AJC.
Hey, Mark.
Hi, Tim.
This is the last SEC tournament in the Georgia Dome, obviously. What are your thoughts about that and about the tournament leaving Atlanta to move on to Nashville semi-permanently?
Yeah, I think Nashville's been a great host. I mean, they do a really good job with the tournament. They get great support there. I think the city of Nashville does a nice job. I think on the years when it's not in Nashville, I think Atlanta does equally as well in hosting the tournament. And is the new facility that's being built for the Falcons going to be able to accommodate basketball? Is Phillips Arena an option? I would love to see Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, the state of Georgia still have a chance to host the tournament because I think we do such a great job. But until that's determined, we'll hope that the last one is a memorable one.
Now, what about just the playing in a NFL-sized stadium versus a basketball arena? Is one necessarily better than the other in your mind?
These kids play so many different places now. I mean, it's I don't know if it's a real difference. I don't think it. I don't think the Final Fours now are played in domes, and I think that you can create atmosphere in a dome just as well as you can in a regular basketball arena. But it's important to have the tournament in places where people will come out, so you have that atmosphere. But I'm not sure there's a huge difference anymore.